I want to bring in now CNN national correspondent Scott McLean, been doing a great job on this story. Also with us, psychotherapist and author of the book Till Death Do Us Part, Robi Ludwig. Scott, I'll start with you. Again, more emotions, more just jaw-dropping reaction. What else did we learn with Shanann's family in the Dr. Phil show?
Hey, Mike. Well, it's pretty hard to imagine what exactly this family is going through. They said that they initially believed that their grandchildren, Bella and Cece, were smothered in their sleep. It is a pretty awful thing to think about, but they say that it's a lot better than the reality, that these girls were actually loaded into the back of their dad's pickup truck, where essentially their feet would have been sitting on top of their mother's dead body, then driven out to this remote oil well site for 45 minutes where they were killed one by one. Sandy, Shanann's mother, said that the hardest part is thinking about Bella, that 4-year-old girl having to watch her younger sister die and then fighting for her own life. Listen.
Do you torture yourself with wondering what they were thinking in those final moments?
Every second of my life.
And what do you say to yourself?
That they were screaming for their mom and us. No doubt in my mind.
I dream about it all the time.
I say to Frankie every day, I bet you she was screaming for her Nana and her Uncle Frankie and her Pop-Up. No doubt in my mind.
Pretty tough to watch. You got to wonder why anyone would do something like this. Now, Chris Watts told investigators, look, he snapped. He was out of control that day. He felt like someone or something was in control, not himself. But that is simply not a satisfactory answer for this family. You heard there in the clip that you played earlier, Mike. They are still wondering why.
Yeah, they're dealing with so much. And Robi, I want you to listen to this. This is, again, Sandy, Shanann's mom, talking about the moment she believes that her daughter died and felt she knew. Let's listen.
I felt my daughter's spirit at the moment she died. Something woke me up, and I sat at the foot of, sat up, and a spear went through my forehead, and I heard the Holy Spirit say, Shanann. And I said, Holy, something happened to my daughter. I knew. I swear to God, I knew. I woke up Frankie. I woke up the whole house. I said, something's wrong with Shanann. I'm telling you, something's wrong. And
we didn't know she was missing yet, We didn't know anything.
But you knew.
Yeah, she knows all the time. She's got intuition. I don't know how she knows these things.
So what did y'all think when she came to you and said this?
Oh, we're
I didn't think
paranoid.
anything of it. Yeah, I was like, Mom, you just worried. She's probably sleeping.
Nothing of it.
Robi, there's the heart of a mom leaning on a faith as well. How much does that help through all this tragedy?
It's tremendously helpful to have faith in something more than ourselves, and to have a community one can rely on in order to get through the difficult times. Of course, it's not going to take away this mother's pain and what she has to experience. And Chris Watts is especially cruel in going through all of the details. It's almost like re-murdering the whole entire family all over again. And he's getting a lot of attention for it. So there's a question, how do we want to handle that when killers seem to brag in a way about the heinous crimes that they've done? But this poor family, I'm sure they feel like they were completely helpless, and this man who they loved and accepted into their family also betrayed them as well.
And Scott, was Shanann's mom one of the first to have the red flags up, her and a friend?
Yeah, the call actually came in remarkably early on in this investigation. Of course, they were killed that morning, and then it was just later that afternoon when police got the call that, hey, they hadn't heard from her. Chris Watts was barely inside of his house by the time that police actually showed up. What really struck me from this interview, though, with Dr. Phil, Mike, is that this family says that they gave Chris Watts the benefit of the doubt for as long as they possibly could have. They said, look, he was a nice guy. The only potential real red flag here was that he was a little bit cold when Shanann had gone out to North Carolina for a couple of weeks to visit her family. But certainly that is nothing that would have indicated that he could have done something like this. Now, of course, we know that during that time she was in North Carolina, Chris Watts's relationship with his mistress really intensified, and he told investigators that he wishes that Shanann had not have gone for so long. But really, Mike, it was only when they saw the interviews that Chris Watts had done with the local news stations that they figured, okay, he might actually have been responsible for this. And then it really solidified things when they realized that he had backed the truck up to the garage door. And of course, we know he had loaded the two girls into the back as well as Shanann's body. And if you think about it, the neighbor had a camera on that area. And then, of course, there was also the Ring doorbell camera, or the doorbell camera, I should say, that caught Shanann coming into the house early in the morning from that late night business trip. And so if she didn't go out the front door, she had to go out the garage. And Chris Watts was the last one to open the door, Mike.
Shanann's family just going through so much here. Scott, Robbie, thank you both so much.